Jamie from InkyandScrappy, sharing with you today another of my stamp set series featuring party themed decor. Of course, this one is actually the birthday card for the birthday boy. More of what we're used to here, but all of the rest was all done with paper products. So you have it, you might as well make use of it, right? So I started with a card base of 5x7. I knew I was going to need a little bit more real estate for this one with that Build-A-Barn in there. And then, of course, using up those stamped images that I did earlier on. So if you want to see the coloring of those, go back and view some of the other videos in this series. If you missed any of the other ones and you want to check it out, go ahead and have a good look-see. So I used the paper pack Simple Stories HomeGrown, and I just pulled out that beautiful blue-white polka dot, and I ink blended right over the top of it. And then, of course, I'm using I think it's the Dots and Stripes from Lawn Fawn paper pack for this green stripe as well. And then just adding some more distress ink over the top. So I think for the top, I ended up using robin egg, or the speckled egg, and then the green is mowed lawn. And those coordinated well with my color combos. So to start, I'm going to build my barn. Gotta build a barn before you can farm. Just saying. So I'm just piecing it together one by one here. Nothing too exciting or great. Just kind of lining it up, going with making sure my overhangs are about the same. I didn't, make sure it was all exactly. I just eyeballed. That's usually how I go. So for the little door on the barn front here, I do usually end up, if I'm going to fold it, I do end up bringing the scoreboard back in and kind of re-scoring those lines just a little bit deeper. I just find it's kind of finicky. I think it's because it, doesn't have, it's just the frame and then that detail. And so this way it gives it just a little bit more stability and support. And then, of course, bringing in that piece of paper to make sure that I don't have any glue oozing out all over the place, and then adding in the red behind it to do my barn door. Now, for this one, I decided I wanted the little farmer to be in the barn. So I'm bringing in a scrap piece of Express It cardstock. I'm just going to stamp my image right on there. Yes, you saw me totally cheat. I didn't use a block. It's a teeny tiny image, so I just kind of lifted up the back plastic piece and inked it and used my finger as my stamping block, and then just pressed it on there. It worked out fine. So I'm just using colors that I had used earlier, doing some of my other decor pieces. So I actually colored the little guy in earlier when I did the cake smash cake topper, and so I just pulled those colors back in and used them again. Now for this one, I had decided I was going to do a flooring. I couldn't decide if I wanted to do straw on the floor or if I just wanted to make it cement gray, and so I ended up going with cement gray for my flooring here. Just bringing in that door to make sure I have it covered, and then I'm bringing in a gray shadow for behind him because I want a little bit of depth and dimension there. And then I'm just going to bring in a yellowish tone here. This is a fairly muted yellow. I think it's number 36 from the 200 set of Ahoo markers. And it's just a soft straw yellow color. And so it worked. So I'm just going to use the door as my cut guide here, and cutting it just underneath that frame so it's not going to stick out. And then I'm just going to glue that onto the back, and then I can glue that onto the front of my barn front. And then I will add in the rest of the pieces here. Yeah, do you see what I did there? I will see it here too. I'm like, well, they weren't quite lining up how I wanted them to line up. And then I realized I didn't have my stitch detail on properly. So, save yourself some time and at least put one side on before you put your door on, so you know exactly where your door is supposed to go in the center if you're going to add that detail piece. Now I did add the window onto the top, but I don't actually do anything behind the window, I don't think. So I'm going to add my card bases here. I did use Trinity Stamps Modern Embossed A2 stack to cut out all of my square pieces. And then I used the Slimline Hillside die from Fawn to do my hill. Now for my stamp set here, or for my text or my sentiment here, I'm bringing in all the hats happy birthday. I did cut off the little exclamation point on the end of this one because I wanted to put it behind the Jacob, and I wanted to be able to put it all on there all at once. So I already had this lined up on my block from the cake topper that I did, and so the Jacob is from Henry's ABCs. I think it's Henry's Mini ABCs. Is that what the stamp set's called? I'll have to look. Now I hemmed and hawed on my placement on this one, but since I was on top of my game and I could put my sentiment on before I put my images on, I went for center. So I did end up switching the barn to the opposite side that I had originally planned on doing. See, sometimes when we're on top of our game, we, place the sentiment first and then the images around to make it work, right? So of course I had to make sure that Jacob was still stuck in the barn. And then I'm going to, the only thing I popped up on this one, I think, is my little fencing here. I probably should have had another piece of fence, but this was what I had already colored and cut out earlier when I started this whole project, and so I was just using what, I had originally thought of using, and so that's how, it just worked this way. And then I'm going to bring in some of those corn cobs in there to add them, to fill in that bottom part there. I didn't end up putting the chicken on the front. I am going to bring in a 5x7 card base. This one is just a pre-done one from Hobby Lobby. It makes life a little bit easier. And then I'm going to bring in some of those leftover images to the inside of the card. Again, it brings that outside of the card into the inside of the card. And so I couldn't decide if I wanted the picture. It's just kind of a big pitchfork for the tractor and the cow and the pig. And so it ended up on the inside. And it's just one of those like images that's in the stamp set that I just don't understand. Because size-wise, it's just a little too big. That's my opinion. I don't know. So on the inside, it just says, have a Farm-tastic day. And then I will add my card base, or my card front to my card base. And that completes my little birthday card. So it actually goes with the whole rest of the set here. So from a birthday card that matches all of his party decor, so cupcake picks and the cake smash pick, and then the party favors and the banner, and of course those place cards. They could also double as invites or thank you cards, and it all kind of goes together, and it was totally fun to create. And I hope you had an amazing birthday party. I hope you have an amazing day. Keep getting inky. Bye!